applause going to the very end. 129504, and our last big giver of the day, bidder 134. Thank you. Give yourself a round of applause. Owen, I can say thank you all day long, but we gotta move. Let's hear it, everybody, for Owen one more time.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you all so much. Please give yourself a huge round of applause. Amazing. Amazing. Well, I am back. We're done having you raise your paddles in the air. You can rest those arms, those tired muscles. Sit back. We now have my favorite part of the evening. We get to introduce our environmental heroes. But let me just for a moment say, you are all environmental heroes. You are keeping this organization going, so thank you. I now have the distinct honor of introducing our first honoree, my good friend, Gail Osherenko. I think most people in this tent know Gail very well. You know that Gail has spent her entire life as an environmental advocate. Thank you, Gail. Gail played a critical role in the creation of the California Coastal Act and the Santa Monica Mountains Recreation Area. Yes. And right here at home, we have benefited from her leadership and her wisdom, where Gail has been a board member at the Environmental Defense Center for a total of 15 incredible years. Gail is also an award-winning documentary filmmaker. And it is that for which we are honoring Gail today. We are honoring Gail for her latest film, her first feature, Broke, the Santa Barbara oil pipeline spill of 2015. Show of hands, how many people have seen Broke? A lot of people here have seen Broke, but a number of people have not, and you have a treat ahead of you, and we're going to work over the coming months to make sure you have an opportunity to see this important film. On May 19th, 2015, Gail was one of the first to arrive on Refugio State Beach, just hours after the Plains All-American Pipeline began spilling 140,000 gallons of heavy crude oil onto the Gaviota Coast and into the Santa Barbara Channel. Over the days and weeks and months that passed, Gail and her camera were ever present. She was down on the beach as they cleaned up. She was at every press conference, at every rally, at every hearing. She interviewed experts across the country and talked to those personally impacted by the spill. And then she took a mountain of footage and crafted a remarkable film. With Broke, Gail not only tells the complex story of what happened with that Plains All-American Pipeline, but she also talks about the systemic risks that the oil pipeline industry puts in front of communities all across this country. Broke should be required viewing for anybody who cares about oil issues, cares about emergency preparedness, cares about protection of wildlife, cares about our oceans, cares about safe and healthy communities. This is a remarkable film, and we are lucky to have Gail in this community and as a part of EDC's family. And before I bring her up, let's take a moment and watch the trailer for Broke. We walked down on the beach, and it was like nothing I'd ever seen.
The beach was just covered in a layer of thick, black oil and tar. It was phenomenal. It was just horrible.
first rule in oil spill response plans is don't spill the damn oil. The second rule is if you violate Rule 1, you move very quickly to contain.
Actions could have been taken to stop the oil from spreading the way it did, but no action was taken until the next morning.
All 5 of us experienced the same nauseous dizziness, coughing.
Noticed my dogs were throwing up.
This spill happened from a relatively new pipeline with modern technology, regulated under current laws, and yet look what happened.
There's a major significant incident on this type of pipeline every 2.5 days in the country. There's been 42 larger incidents than the Refugios in the last 5 years in the country. 3 million gallons a year of hazardous liquids spill out of pipelines into the environment.
Plain is in trouble.
The company did not follow state law on declaring the spill and on noticing the 3 entities that they are required to notice within about 15 minutes.
Almost all the birds out there have some tar on them.
The total number collected so far is 249 birds. That was 57 collected alive, 192 collected dead.
We've got 136 square miles of ocean shut down. We cannot go in.
In the immediate near term, there's guys that are suffering economically from that displacement.
The energy industry is the largest industry in the history of the world.
We need to get the message out. This is not about a failed piece of pipe. There's no risk-free way to develop oil.
The longer we have that oil addiction, the more damage to our environment will take place.
The challenge is to break the political power of the fossil fuel industry and to restructure the incentives.
Allow me to introduce our first 2018 environmental hero, Ms. Gail Osherenko.
Thank you, Owen. Thank you, Linda. Thank you to all of the EDC staff, this amazing, amazing staff that just keeps fighting for us, for protecting our incredibly beautiful piece of paradise here and throughout the Central California coast. Thank you all for being here. I'm just overwhelmed with what just happened in this auction and how much encouragement you gave me as a board member, knowing that we will have the resources to stop the offshore drilling. We don't need any more offshore drilling. Now, you know, when I first came here, I came here in 2002, we were contemplating a move. The first person I came to see was Linda Kropp. She didn't have a job for me, but she gave me a lot of good advice. And when I started teaching at UCSB for the Bren School and the Environmental Studies program, I was often in her office catching up on the latest cases or learning about how on earth she masterminded getting rid of 40 oil leases off of our coast. I want to take a minute to thank so many people in the audience who've been instrumental in getting Broke to the stage it is now, where it is being shown, and soon we'll get a DVD out to people. Some of you were very generous in supporting our Kickstarter. Thank you. You know who you are. I really appreciate it. Thank you to our associate producer, Deborah Pio, who is here. and to John Pio, who did the music and composed all the original instrumentals. Thank you to Shannon Dibvick, who was my film coach, and who started to teach me how to make films. And she was the one who sent me the note, I can't remember if it was a text or if, I think she texted me and I called her back telling me that there was an oil spill at Refugio. And I was in the middle of filming the gray whale count, and I just grabbed my camera and ran. Got down to Refugio, and it wasn't but a few minutes later, oh maybe an hour, that Linda and Owen showed up themselves. And as I made the film, they were there at every moment, at all the press conference, holding briefings, rallying people. Many of you were there at those rallies. Thank you for being there. Your voices matter. We're going to have to do it again. So I don't have a lot else to say because Owen said a lot of it already, but next year we'll be marking the 50th anniversary of the 1969 spill, and hopefully we'll be marking it with the removal of many of all of the oil wells on the platform and hopefully the other platforms will start coming out as well. That's what we want to see. We want to see oil come out of, the oil platforms come out of our channel, not more oil. So we have another little treat for you. And if Shannon and Doug would come up, I want to introduce them. I'm going to give them a chance to set up here. We wanted you to hear this incredible song that became the theme song for the film Broke. It's composed by Robin Kropp. You recognize the last name. So, two of Linda's sisters are here today, but Robin did not make it. She lives in San Francisco. She's a music teacher. And the day after the spill, she wrote this amazing song, which I didn't hear about until about a year after the spill, when I was telling Linda I needed some kind of song to go over the credits. And she said, oh, my sister wrote a song. I said, well, I want to hear it. And she got out her cell phone and I heard this song. It's as though it was written for the film. And so in the film it's sung by my husband Orrin Young's daughter. And here you're going to hear it sung by our own local Central California coast talent, Shannon Boundy. She's a homegrown vocalist. And she's the lead singer for a couple of groups. And I think she's thrilled to be back in Santa Barbara today. And Doug McRae is a singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist. And he traveled around the whole U.S. He put together 3 albums in Nashville, but now he's right here up in Morro Bay. He has his own bluegrass band called Doug McRae and the Big Grass Tradition. So, Doug and Shannon, take it away.
All the talk about the oil rigs, the platforms out at sea. All the talk about the figures, how it saves us energy. All the talk about the pipelines, how much oil they transport. How we all have heard the hype lines till we're facing nature's core. What you gonna do when the oil spills? What you gonna do with the wildlife it kills? What you gonna do with the smell and the ick? What you gonna do when people get sick? What you gonna do with the sand and tar? What you gonna do with the water at Mars? What you gonna do with your paradise lost? What you gonna do when you look at the cost? Look at the cost, look at the cost. All the talk about the vows and such, that keep the pipes okay. All the talk about just how much they're built for a safe convey. All the talk about the industry, how its network grows and grows. All the talk about safety until the safety goes. What you gonna do when the oil spills? What you gonna do when the birds that are ill? What you gonna tell the whales passing by? What you gonna tell the fish that'll die? What you gonna do when your nature walks nil? What you gonna do when tourism's still? What you gonna do with the livelihoods lost? What you gonna do when you look at the cost? Look at the cost. 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 Thank you.